everybody, and welcome back to yet another episode of Against All Odds. And as I say at the beginning of every single podcast, it's purely a selfish reason I film this because I get to speak to inspirational people. And today I was so excited because she's over the other side of the world. I've got Missie McEwan with me. How are you, my lovely?
I'm good. Life is magical.
So you're in Florida now?
Yeah, we're in Florida right now. We'll be here for at least a couple of years.
Right, okay. So I was back on your podcast. Was it 2023 you just said?
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah.
God, I
Uh,
didn't realize it was that long ago.
I know. It's been 2 years since we've had an actual conversation.
Blimey,
I know.
blimey. But I needed to get you on because, and as I just said to you before the podcast, I follow you on Facebook and your posts are just like pure light and energy because Facebook can be pretty down and gloomy at times. And you are out there showing people how to live their best lives and gratitude and things like that. So I thought I need you on my podcast.
I love you so much.
So this whole journey, where did it start for you? What was the beginning?
Oh, wow. So it depends on like where we are starting with that. So if we're talking about like my realistically, I've always been different. I've always known that. I've always known that
Right. Yeah.
I seen things and I felt things differently than other people. I knew that at a very young age. And so I became a people watcher because I got in trouble a lot. And because I was the kid that would stop and want to look at nature or just talk to people or and so I was always the kid that was constantly getting in trouble because I was stopping and smelling the roses and I wanted to see things for what they were and um just different things. And so I knew from a very young age that there was something different about me, and so I learned how to people watch so I could act normal
Right.
around other
Okay. Yeah.
people. But I never really lost that, like, I don't know how to explain it. Like, I just felt like there was always something more. Like anytime somebody said it is what it is, or, somebody should do something about that, my brain was always like, well, why not you? Or why not me?
Yeah.
Or why not, and Um, I was never surrounded by people like that. And so I never really grew that part of my brain or, that muscle until I got older. But I did notice at a very young age that um, I seen things a little bit differently than other people. And always questioning authority, always questioning what people told me and why and stuff, and going with the wrong crowd, which to me, looking back at it, the wrong crowd was they were just colorful. They were colorful people who were just different from most other people. And because of this part of me, this light, I call it, because it really is a gift to be able to see things from a different perspective, no matter like where you're sitting. I didn't see it as a gift when I was younger. But now that I'm older and I know how to use it, it is definitely a gift to be able to see what's going on, but also see, different perspectives and be able to step out of different things and um, step out of myself, really, because that's the biggest thing. Anything that you are seeing in anybody else, it's just a mirror perspective of yourself, right? We all know that. We've heard it a
Yeah.
million times. Anytime, whatever you're seeing or feeling, it's your feelings. It's not necessarily them, it's you. It's a mirror. And so to be able to step out of that mirror and see things from other people's perspectives, and even beyond was a really big deal for me. And I think a
Yeah.
lot of people do this and they either don't realize it, or they did what I did and they're scared, and so they just kind of like hide it and pretend like it's not really who they are, and whatever, but I I definitely I shoved it down for a really long time. And so what I wanted to talk about today, something that saved my life, was gratitudes and affirmations. So it
Yes.
sounds so unbelievably simple. It really does. Like it sounds, like that's so dumb. But and I did too. Like for the longest time, for even probably for the first 2 years, and I was still doing it in my head. Like I would still say them, but I wasn't really feeling them for those like year and a half, 2 years. But I'll never forget the moment I was arguing with my son. At the time, he was like 8 or 9. Okay. I'm arguing with my 8 or 9 year
Right.
old, and we're just going back and forth. And I stepped back and I was like, how can we make this situation better? Like, what do you need from me? And he just stopped and he was like, I don't know. And then we had a conversation about it. And then he was good. He went about his day and he walked away. And I stood there for a second and I was like, holy shit, I did it.
Yes.
I did it. I was like, all of that work, all of this stuff, all of the things that I've been telling myself, because like in my head, I used to tell myself like this is stupid and like I'm a bad mom and I'm yelling and all these things. And instead, I was telling myself, okay, calm down. It's gonna be okay. What do we need to do? And because I had trained my brain to do that instead of freaking out in the moments that didn't break, that's the most important thing. You're doing your affirmations and your gratitudes all the time. I say them to myself all day long, all day long. That way, when the moment does break, it's just automatic. Like my brain automatically does it,
Yeah, yeah.
in any stressful situation. Like for instance, I just went through, I won't go into detail, but I went through some pretty hard stuff and I was feeling like a really, really bad mom. And I started going there and I started telling myself, all of these horrible things. And before I could even stop myself, my brain stopped myself and it was like, you are an incredible mom. You are so powerful. You love your kids. You're doing the best you can. Like my brain automatically did it on its own. And so my that's what I do. My work is I'm a life coach, and I do Reiki and stuff, but like the most important thing to me is that I share this gift that was given to me with as many people as I possibly can, because it's the simplest thing that you can do for yourself. It's so simple to just wake up in the morning and say, I am enough. I am grateful. It's so easy to say those things. And again, I didn't believe them in the beginning. It was just
Yeah.
something that I repeatedly told myself. But because I did that, I retrained my brain. It is incredible. Our brains are incredible. They will believe literally
Yeah.
anything. It'll believe anything you tell it. And I I'll never forget when I first started going through my courses and stuff for coaching. First course that I took was NLP, and it totally blew my mind. If you don't know what NLP is, go and look it up, because it is incredible. And it it talks a lot about how the brain works and how you can rewire it yourself, and how a
Yeah.
lot of time, like, you already have the answers inside you. We already have the answers inside of us. Um we get stuck sometimes. I
Yeah.
It's just it's the way it goes. And I posted something today actually, uh that kind of goes along the lines with it. where most of our troubles stem from attachment to things that we mistakenly see as permanent. I'm going to say that again. Most of our troubles stem from attachment to things that we mistakenly see as permanent. Okay, what do you see? Think about it in your life right now. For anybody that's watching, listening, what in your life right now are you struggling with that you feel stuck that might actually be movable? You know, it might actually
Yeah.
be something that you might be able to do something about, you know? Think about it. Just have a think about it.
Yeah.
Because by letting go of these attachments, you free yourself from unnecessary suffering and open the path to true peace, love, and fulfillment. And this is, I believe this 100% because I I've done it. Like this has
Yeah.
actually
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
saved my life
It's one
over
of
and
those
over.
things, isn't it, where when you said it's so simple, I think humans, we like to overcomplicate things, don't we? So if you give a human something simple to do, they'll bin it off straight away because it's way too simple. So that'll never work. It's that kind of mentality, isn't it?
Yeah. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah,
It
it's
really
like we
is.
like. Is it like we try and make it harder so that we've got an excuse to not do it or to fail at it? It's very odd why we
Yeah.
choose the hard path.
And we are the only species that does that. You know that we are the only species that second guesses ourselves that you know, every other species, they like when they got it. And when they're learning, they keep learning until they got it. And so we are the only species on this planet that will literally, you can have everything, anything you want, but we will give ourselves every excuse under the book not to do it, not to have it because. And
Yeah,
I'm guilty of it too. It's human nature. It's human nature
we
for us
all
to do
are.
that.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, like it is totally human nature for us to do that. And like I'm not perfect. I definitely all of these things have helped me grow so much and be able to say yes to different things in my life instead of holding myself back. But I still, there are things in my life where I'm like, oh, I can't do that. And it's not because I can't, it's because I don't want to, because it means that I have to give something up. It means that I have
yeah,
to change. It means that something else has to change, or, you know, someone else, you know, there are other factors in it. And so my brain goes, in all actuality, if it felt right and you felt like you needed to say yes, you need to say yes. And then all of the other stuff will figure itself out. That's what I've learned. And
yeah,
um I mean just like with everything else, like it's you have choice. You have choice in every situation that you're in. And um I love working with kids because they, even at a very young age, they feel like they don't have choice. You know, they feel, you know, because
yeah,
they're told what to eat, they're told how to dress, they're told. And so it's really fun for me to work with kids, like with energy and with the coaching and stuff, because um they're a lot easier. Like even though they have that mentality of, oh, I can't do this, or I shouldn't do this, or you know, stuff like that, it is much easier to get them to be able to love themselves and come out of it and change their mindset than it is for me to get
yeah,
adults to do it, you know. And that really comes down to conditioning. I think, you know, it's we're taught to process. And that is the difference between a therapist and the coach, by the way. Is a therapist will say, how does that make you feel? And they'll go down memory lane with
yeah,
you. And a coach will be like,
yeah,
what are you going to do about it?
yeah. We're more solution based, aren't we? We then keep
Yes.
going backwards because I think it's. Do you know what? I think there is a place for therapy with some people, but it
Yes.
does us no good to keep going back. It's like trying to drive forward, looking behind you. Do you know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah.
It's you. You can't do both. So yeah,
Yeah, it's
with
well, and it's such an emotional roller coaster anyway. You know, I've done it a million times, and I've noticed, like, every time I go through a change in my life, I go through the emotions. I go through, because you're letting something go. So it's gonna hurt. Even if it was bad for you, you're still letting something go. It's still a part of your life. It's still a part of your story. And so you're still gonna feel that, and that's okay. Like, feel that, let it go. Um, but I think we hold on to things way longer than we need to because we were told to, we
yeah,
like you're supposed to feel things, and this is supposed to hurt, and
you're supposed to
including
suffer and
exactly,
yeah,
and
yes,
same with
yeah,
it's the same thing with death. I have a very different perspective on death than most people do, and I think a lot of that has to do with um a lot of the stuff that I've gone through with my mom. She has died 3 times in the last 14 years.
wow,
And I I don't really know. I know that it's gonna kill me when that day actually does come because I'm very, very close with my mom. Um, but
hmm
I also know that I won't be that person who mourns her death. I I will be that person who, when I think of her, I'm gonna laugh. Like, I'll cry, but they're
yeah,
gonna be they're gonna be happy tears. I'm gonna laugh because she makes me laugh, and I'm gonna get my dreams. I'm gonna live my life, because that's what she would want me to do. And if you think about your life, like you personally, okay, you make choices, like you in your life, you make choices, you go about your life, you you make food choices, drink choices, sleeping habits, all of these choices throughout your life. And that is really what is going to be your demise, is the choices that you make in your life. And
yeah,
it when it comes to the end, I don't think that we need to be, I mean, it sucks that we're without them. And that's the part, like, missing them is one
yeah,
thing, but I'm not I'm not sad. I'm not grieving over them. I don't know, it's different because I know that they wouldn't want me to. I know that they would want me to move on with my life
yeah,
and keep going and doing the things that I was doing with my life. And, just like if it was the other way around, I would want them to do the same thing. I wouldn't want their world to end.
yeah,
Even my
yeah,
my husband, the love of my life. I don't know what I would do without him, but I know that I would figure that out. And I I know that he would want me to live my life. So
yeah,
it's just different.
yeah.
It's a
And,
mindset
and
thing.
it's a bit like, look, yeah, yeah, and it's like you're privileged to have them in your life and have had time with them and experience
Yeah.
them as well, isn't it? It's like
Yeah, and
gratitude. Like,
yeah.
yeah, yeah,
And to have those memories
yeah.
and those
So
and those things.
yeah, that's amazing. So are you like me, where you can never have a bad day? Where if you have a day that goes not so great, you can always find something good that's gone.
Yes.
Yes,
Yes.
yes.
What is the point if you can't?
Oh, I love it. Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Like magic, yes. Finally, somebody else.
Yes, I 100%. And that again comes down to my affirmations and my gratitudes too. Like, especially on the days where it's just been a lot. It's just been a lot.
Yeah,
There's always something. There's always something. Even if it was just um I got to sit outside by myself for 10 minutes, and I got to listen to the birds. That was really nice. And the rest of the day was chaotic. I have that. And I fall asleep with that. That is what I hold on to. I don't hold on to all of the other stuff. I take just that one
yeah.
moment with me to bed. Oh, I love it, Amy. Yes,
You know
absolutely, I
what?
do.
You're not the only one, because I think, if you've got had a bad day, like you say, someday, like I've had a really bad day, and you don't look at something positive, you just get up in the morning still with that bad day attached because your brain
Yeah.
hasn't been able to neutralize the day.
Yep.
So
It doesn't
yeah,
know
it
the
just
difference.
doesn't know the difference. So it's just like neutralizing the bad day. Like, it would be great if every day was perfect, but life isn't like that,
No.
and we're supposed to have challenging days and things go wrong and things like that. But there's to every negative, there's a positive somewhere. You just got to look for it a little bit harder.
Exactly. I get a lot of messages from people who are like, how there's no way that you are that positive and bubbly and happy and stuff all the time. And I'm like, well, I mean, I have my moments. I'm like, I do not have my days. I do not have days, but I do have my
Yeah.
moments where I'm like, I'm done. Namaste the fuck away. I need a minute. I'm like, I have my moments, all right. But for the most part, I'm like, if you ever met me in person, um, that is one thing that a lot of people say. They're like, it's really refreshing to meet somebody who is the same online as they are, in real life. Like I really am a happy, joyful person, but I built that. It's a state of
Yeah.
mind. Happiness and joy, it's a state of mind. It's a choice. And I choose to be happy. I choose to find joy in even the crappiest of moments because the alternative just sucks. Like, and I've done that too. I've done that too. I've spent years of my life just pity partying and just and it didn't do me any good. I um one story I could share with you is when I very first started my health journey, um I'm 5 foot nothing, okay? So I'm short and I was about
Me
200
too.
pounds. High five.
Good
I
things
was
come in small packages.
That's right. That's right. So does dynamite.
Yes.
That's so funny. My husband, he's like, "Are you a ketchup packet today, or are you a spicy sriracha packet today?"
I love that. Anyway, carry on what you were telling me because I really rudely interrupted you there.
Oh, okay. So, when I very first started like my health journey, when I started like working out and eating better and stuff like that, um, it was all about the weight loss. Okay, and hear me out, people, because most of you that I talk to, it's exactly the same. I take it from somebody who has been there and done it. Okay. I lost 100 pounds in less than a year, and I was less than 100 pounds soaking wet, and I was miserable. I hated myself. I was still, I still felt like I was fat. I thought I was ugly. I wanted to get surgery, all of these things. And it was because I was talking so negatively to myself throughout the entire thing. I was working out and I was eating right and I was doing all the things, but I was telling myself, work harder, you're ugly. Why does your skin look like that? Just all of the things. And, like, why can't you lose the weight faster? And I promise you, I promise you that if you don't do the inside work for anything that you're doing in your life, you will not appreciate it when you get there. I promise you. You could go from 600 pounds to nothing, and you will still hate yourself because you didn't do the inside work. Okay, please look into it. It's very simple. An affirmation, if you don't know, is an I am statement. So it would be, instead of saying, oh, I'm so stupid, or oh, I can't do this, which are things that we tell ourselves subconsciously, not even thinking about it. Start subconsciously, that's such a hard word to say, subconsciously saying, I am enough right now. I am beautiful. I am magical. I am great. I am good. Whatever it is that you need to say, come up with three staples that you can say to yourself every single day. That is what an affirmation is. It's something that you say to yourself that it's a true statement. Okay, you are beautiful. You are enough right now, and you are good. Okay, those are three things that you can say to yourself right now that are true. 100%. Affirmations will change your life because, like I said, your brain doesn't know the difference. So the more you tell yourself that, the more your brain is going to start to believe it. And when you can get yourself to a point where you can say it in the mirror, it's even better because then it's a visual thing too. You've got your brain visually you saying, you are beautiful, you are enough, you are okay. And I'm telling you, like this smirk on my face, the very first time I did it, I was like, oh, this is so stupid. But then I did it again because it made me feel good. It made me feel good. And so I was like, I did it again. And so affirmations are for you. They're incredible, okay? And then your gratitudes. A gratitude is just same thing, three things, because your brain again cannot handle more than three changes at a time. Okay, you put it on overload, and then all of a sudden, everything kind of goes by the wayside. So whenever you're trying to learn something
Yeah,
new or whatever, try to stick with three. um, and then you can move forward from there. But your gratitudes are just things that you are grateful for. This could be anything. It could be things from the past. It could be things in your present life. It could be things in the future. It could be anything that you are grateful for. Um, just things that make you happy, bring you joy. That's the whole point. That's the whole point of life, isn't it? Is joy and
yeah,
fulfillment.
absolutely.
And like what else
Yeah,
are we seeking if that's not, even with money, when people say money doesn't buy happiness, well, it can buy you a lot of different things. But if you're not happy with yourself, it, it's not going to matter. It's not going to matter. You're still going to be unhappy. Do you have
yeah,
any idea how many millionaires and billionaires there are out there that are just they're miserable. They're absolutely miserable because
yeah,
they worked their butts
yeah, yeah,
off, but they didn't work on themselves they have no idea who they are. So I
yeah.
just
So
I
if you take the money away from them, they'd struggle because they don't.
then who are
It's
they?
all about the
Then they
money.
then they have to go
Yeah,
off and they have to build another business because they don't know what to do without it. And there's
yeah,
nothing
yeah,
wrong with that. It's amazing that people, they have that mentality and they can just they know how to network and that's their thing. It's incredible. I just work on here and here too. So when you get to that point, you get to enjoy it. That was my
yeah.
biggest thing. So now I'm well, I just got really sick and I lost a bunch of weight, but I'm typically about like 130, 135, and I'm happy at that weight. Like I'm not I don't look like a Barbie doll, but I don't think we're supposed to.
No,
Like, you know what
no,
I mean?
no.
And
You're so right.
I'm serious, like, and a lot of people are like, "Oh, well, I still have this and I still have this, but I love my body." And I'm like, "I have this and that's why I love my body." And that's, like I have my little poochie because I've got my kids. I got my stretch
Yeah,
marks
yeah,
from my kids. That's my, what is it called? My badge of honor.
yeah,
But
yeah.
everybody is different. And I just like I said, I'm a people watcher. And I remember sitting on the beach one day looking at, like, it was packed there. I mean, the whole beach was packed. And there were so many people, so many beautiful, beautiful women, all shapes and sizes, just like big, little, in between, and I'm looking at them and they've got all different colors, shapes, like bathing suits, and I'm in awe. Like I'm sitting there and it's like a kid in a candy shop. I was like, "Oh my God, they're so beautiful." Like I just want to go and tell each and every one of them that they're so amazing. Like they're so beautiful because a lot of them don't know how beautiful they are, and I want them to know how beautiful they freaking are and that somebody noticed. And so like I'll walk up and down the beach and be like, "You're gorgeous." But I mean it. And but I'll never forget it. There was this one time I was watching and I'm looking at everybody, my God, they're so beautiful. And I was like, a lot of these women that I'm looking at are, their body type doesn't look anything like mine, but I still think they're beautiful. So why can't I see that in myself? You know?
Yeah.
And I was like, all right,
Mm,
something's got to give. I mean, because think about it. You can look at other women, be like, oh gosh, she's so beautiful. And that woman's probably looking at all of her
yeah.
flaws and everything and being like, I don't like this and this and this and this, but someone else is looking at her and being like, I wish I looked like you.
Yeah.
Knock that
We
shit
are our
off.
own critic,
N- Yes, knock that shit off, you guys. Knock it off. You are beautiful right now. And I promise you that if you start doing the mindset work, if you start working on gratitudes and affirmations and, even beyond, like doing other things further than that, I promise you, I am living proof. I had the worst body dysmorphia. It was destroying me. It took over my life.
really.
And yeah,
Mm,
it, for years, for probably probably 5 years, I lived in this very dark hole
mm,
of just not feeling good enough and not feeling pretty. And um it was it was horrible. And it was me that pulled myself out of it. Because I have kids, and I was like, something's got to give because I can't even take care of my kids properly because I'm so worried about what I look like. I'm like, this is insane. And so
yeah.
I started watching YouTube videos. Motivational things to help my brain. Um, and then I found a gratitude video. It had 20 minutes of someone just saying different beautiful things to me. And I was like, oh, that's really nice. I like this. And so every morning I would
Yeah.
put on this gratitude thing where they would tell me all of these beautiful things about myself. And then I would go and do my gratitudes, which I didn't believe yet at the moment. And then I
Right.
would go I would go about my day and stuff, but it really did help, like hearing someone tell me it's going to be okay. You are enough and
Yeah.
you are doing everything you can right now. Because a lot of times
Yeah.
we feel like we're not, right?
Yeah. I think we're our own worst critics, and I think society and expectations are a lot to blame as well. Because
Yeah.
it's almost like, right, you've got to live your life like this. To be healthy, you need to look like this, which is ridiculous, because health looks in very like different in everybody. But it's like, then you do this, then you must go work 9 to 5, and then, do you know what I mean? It's like we're all mapped out from the day
Yeah.
we're born, where
Yeah.
society is. And that's sad because it means that if you kind of don't take that path or you don't fit that perfect mold, you're automatically going to think you're not good enough, that you don't fit in. Like, of course, you're going to beat yourself up. So it's learning actually what you perceive as your normal
Right.
and what makes you feel good, right?
Exactly. I love that, Amy. That's what I'm trying to implement with my kids because I homeschool, and we don't use like a regular curriculum. It's one of the biggest questions that I get from people, like, what do you do for school? And I'm like, well, we live life. We do
Yeah.
they cook, they clean, They do art projects, they do science, we go outside, we go places, there are lots of different things. I very rarely do book work. It's not really a thing in
Yeah.
my house. We do things online. They have like online programs. That's another thing. I get a lot of guff from people because I allow my kids to be on electronic devices. And my thing is that like I work technology is I have to have it. Like I work from my phone. And so I've learned that you can either use technology as like like you were saying, like there are so many things you can see on social media and stuff. It can be crap. It really can, but you can also use it as a tool. And
Yes. Yeah.
I choose to use it as a tool for my kids. And it works really well. It works really well for us. And I think it's important to find what works for you because we all learn differently.
Yes.
Like even with my kids, like my daughter and my son, like they learn differently. I have to teach them differently. And so it really just um again, it comes down to mindset and being like, okay, this isn't working. Um
Yeah.
where do we go from here? Because we did try the traditional school thing and that it was a nightmare. And um my son is on the spectrum. He has Asperger's and I love him. I'm so grateful that we have done the work with him that we have because he has incredible communication. And so one of the reasons why we don't do the workbooks is funny. I ordered workbooks for my kids because that's what you're supposed to do. And Century, like she's right on track, and so she's doing hers. And Xavier's going through his. He's flipping through all of his pages, and he gets to the end of it, and he just looks at me, and I'm like, "What?" And he's like, "None of this interests me." And I'm like, "Okay, Xavier, it's not necessarily, you don't always have to be interested. Like sometimes you just have to do it." And he's like, "No, no, no. You told me when we started doing this that it was about if we were going to learn that we needed to learn things that were going to interest us. Otherwise, we weren't going to learn." And I'm like, "Yes, I did say that.
He is right.
Yes, I did." Uh, my 16-year-old. And I was like, "Okay, so where do we go from here?" He was like, I'm like, because you can't do nothing. I'm like, you have to figure out, and I'm not going to let you do everything on the computer. You've got to do other things too. Like, I want you to work on your handwriting. I want, whatever. I'm like, so where do we go from here? He's like, let me pick my books. I'm like, okay, it's a very simple fix. See, now in a situation in most households, this would have been, no, you're just doing it. That's just the way it is. That's the way it's
Yeah.
been since the dawn of time. And this is the book that they told you needed to do. And so this is what you're doing. And I'm really grateful that we are in a situation that I can give my kids, the opportunity to have their own opinion and to do that. And because they do learn better. He's not wrong. Like they learn better when and it's the same stuff. Like he's going to learn math, he's going to learn science, English and stuff like that. He's just going to learn it in a way that he wants to learn it. And I'm like,
Yeah. Because
okay.
everybody's that because everybody's different, and I think one teaching way does not work. Doesn't
No,
work over here neither.
no, it never
Because
did.
we all learn in a different way. No, it never did. But I think it's some people can read like Ben. If you give him something to read, he'll forget it in 5 minutes. But if he showed visuals, he'll remember it.
Right.
And
What
so
if,
every child, every adult learns different.
what if, like with the reading, if you give him something to read that he's interested in, will he forget it?
No, he'll remember that.
Yeah.
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 So
See, that's kind of where I'm going
it's like,
with the kids.
yeah. I mean, it's like with me at school though. I always did better in subjects that I enjoyed.
Mm-hmm.
but that's everybody,
Right?
you know?
It's like,
So I just
but
can't.
I mean, well, and
We're
when you
in year
say like,
2025. Yeah,
let's get it
we're in year
together.
2025. We're not in our ages. Like, why are we still doing this?
I know. I don't know. It's so funny because there are a couple of most of my friends, we live in an RV. We travel for a living for, no, nobody, none of you know me, but Amy knows me. But I live in a trailer. I live in a fifth wheel. And so, we live in a trailer park. And, so a lot of the other parents, that, are here, they homeschool their kids too. There are a handful of kids that go to the actual school still. And it's so funny because I'll see the bus pull up and I'm like, they still do that? I'm like, they still have school? I'm like, wow, all right.
Yeah, I just think, it's one of, and you know what? It's like, it's trying to fit a square peg in a round hole with all the children, right? And
Yeah,
and the children that learn differently is automatically going to knock their confidence, and they're going to have limiting beliefs about how clever they are. And I think it's so sad that
yeah,
we're just not in a world that goes, right, okay, you can learn like this, or you can learn this way, or this way. You find which one suits you,
right.
you know?
Well, and yeah, and the other thing is that like I have a friend that um I homeschool with, and her kids are academically, they are much more advanced than um my kids are, like as far as like reading and writing and stuff like that, because they do the school books and um and stuff. And uh my daughter came home crying one day. Her and her friend got in a fight, and um they were saying mean things back and forth to each other. And the other girl said, well, she called her dumb, basically.
Right.
And so she came home and she was like, I don't want to have to do all the things that everybody else does. She's like, but I don't want to be stupid. I'm like, Century, you're not stupid. I'm like, you're smart in other ways that most people aren't. Have, you are 10 years old and you can communicate like most adults can't. Okay.
Yeah.
Your communication skills are incredible. I'm like, and you can read and you can write and you know how to do, the things. I'm like, but it was more important to me to teach you how to cook and clean and how to do money and time and like communication and self hygiene, like the real life stuff. It was more important to me for you guys to do those things than it was for me to sit you down and learn about Columbus.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
if you were really interested, like my son, for instance, he's really interested in science. And so I throw all sorts of stuff at him. Neither one of my kids are really into like history and stuff. So we don't really look into it. If they have a question, then we pull it up. But again, it kind of goes back to, going into the past. Even, I mean, how many times have we repeated history over and over and over and over again? No matter, even though we have gone through history in school, we keep doing the same things over and over again. And I think it's because we don't learn how to change it.
No, we don't.
We're taught, oh, this is what happened, but we're not taught how to change what happened. And so that's what I'm trying to teach my kids. It's really important to me that they have, you know, management skills as far as their inner peace and being able to um manage their emotions and uh just life in general. That's more important to me than history and going backwards, because like I
Do you
said,
know what?
we've
Yeah. Do you know what? I've said it before on a podcast. So now over here, I don't know how they measure IQ over in America, but now over here, we're following Europe. So your IQ is now measured in with your EQ, so your emotional resilience. because they finally realised that you could have somebody that goes to the top university over here that is really successful, but if he can't handle stress, he just falls flat on his face. Where if you get somebody that's emotionally intelligent and has knowledge, then that's what your IQ's scored on.
Right.
But it's took
Right.
years to do that.
Right.
Finally, we're doing it.
Ah, right. Finally. And see, with my kids, and that's the thing, like, and again, like it keeps me up at night sometimes. I'm like, am I depriving my kids of, a future because I'm not teaching them all of the other bullshit that, we were taught when we were in school and stuff. But realistically, like you said, they're looking for people who can manage themselves, who can
Yeah,
communicate, who can be emotionally stable and stuff like that. And so the knowledge will come.
yeah,
You can teach anybody pretty much anything.
yeah,
But if those two key factors, they get left out a lot. And that's why, in my opinion, that's why we have so much mental illness and stuff today. And it's so funny because I hear people say, well, we never had this back in my day, we never had, autism or whatever. This is bullshit. And I'm like, it's really not. And it was around back then. It just wasn't talked about. And the difference is that it's magnifying now because we are all so connected with
yeah,
technology. And so
yeah,
now all of a sudden we're realizing, oh, I'm not alone. Oh,
yeah,
there are other people who are going through the same things that I am,
yeah,
so it makes it so it's not just, okay, I'm going to closet and just, suck this up. People are actually coming out and saying, no, this is how I feel too.
yeah.
This is how I felt my entire life. I just didn't say anything. So it always makes me laugh. Like, when the older people are like, back in my day, and I'm like, yeah. I promised myself I would never be one of those people because I understand that things change, times change, and they're supposed to. It's
Yeah, we
we're
are supposed to evolve,
we're supposed to change. It's supposed to, and it's not all of it is comfortable. And I don't always agree with all of it, but again, we're a collective, it's not just one person. It's the masses. And so
Yeah,
if you can just focus on you and your mindset and, getting you to a good state, I swear to you, everything else will fall into place. Like it's so crazy how it works. Like, ah,
the best thing you can do is invest in yourself, right? And in your own mindset. That's what I say to
yeah,
people. Yeah,
always,
yeah.
always. And that's, when you say invest, a lot of people think, oh, like money. It's not just money.
It's time.
It's
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 time. It's like
time.
watching that YouTube video. It's reading that book. It's
Yeah,
things like that.
that's
And
the biggest thing.
yeah, yeah,
And like, it's creating a powerful mindset. Like it's so easy. It just takes consistency and time.
I love that.
Consistency and time.
I
That's
love that.
it.
I've got one final question for you. And you probably know what it is now because you listened to Davino's. This question has actually come from Davino because I've heard him ask so many people. So I actually batted the question back to him on the podcast. So, Missy, tell me 3 good things about yourself.
Oh, it's so funny. I love it. All right. So before I do, Javino, if you ever end up watching this, I did watch it, and one of my favorite parts, you said, I think your purpose is whatever you can do effortlessly.
Yeah,
And I loved that because it really is. Yeah. So for everybody listening, think about that. Okay. Like, what do you do that you just do? It just comes naturally to you. Do more of that. Okay. Do more of that.
I love that.
And all right. So what do I love about me?
Yeah, Three things. Three things.
Just three. All right. So, so the my biggest thing that I love about me is my heart.
Yes.
Um, I love the way that it works. I love the way that it sees things and it feels, and it just I love my heart. I love my hugs. I love giving hugs. I don't really like, I know how much the hug back to me feels, but everybody always says that I give really good hugs. So apparently the energy exchange is incredible. Like,
Yes, I love that.
so I love my hugs, and I love my laugh.
You've got a fantastic laugh. I love that. Well, thank you for being such an amazing guest and joining me
Thank
from
you for
all
having
the
me.
way over there. Absolutely fantastic. I keep on doing what you're doing on social media, mate, because honestly, you really do make a difference, and it's like a ripple effect. So keep on doing it.
Thank you. Same with you. Same with
Thanks for
you.
joining me. Thank
I
you.
love